Alright, so it's no secret that the Warriors are in a funk right now. At the time that I'm recording this video, Tuesday, March 8th, they were able to get a win versus the Clippers on TNT, but that's not too impressive considering the Clippers were missing 4 of their top 6 players. No Kawhi Leonard, no Paul George, no Norman Powell, no Robert Covington. So the Warriors beat a depleted team, which they did versus the Portland Trail Blazers as well. But they have lost, before that game, they have lost 9 of their last 11 games. They were in a super funk, and this was definitely probably the worst basketball that we've seen since the Warriors became a dynasty. Of course, besides that throwaway season where it was just Draymond and a bunch of scrubs following that 2019 NBA Finals when Clay was out, Steph was out, even KD was out for Brooklyn. It was just Draymond and the reserves. Besides that season, this was definitely the worst basketball that we've seen really since Steph Curry came into prominence, really since Steph Curry was an all-star caliber point guard. Because early in his career, if you guys don't remember, Steph used to get snubbed from all-star teams. Like, he would be right there on the brick of making it. Everyone would be like, damn, he should have made the all-star team, and he just didn't. So ever since he's been at that kind of level, we've never seen them just drop this many games. Like, in the Steve Kerr era, this was definitely some of the most puzzling basketball that I've seen the Warriors play. And it's for several different reasons, but one thing that I noticed is, man, you could call it pride, you could call it stubbornness, you could call it ego, but when you're used to succeeding playing a certain type of way or doing something a certain way, it's hard to deviate from it. For example, on the defensive end, the Warriors don't like to send double teams. They don't like to get the ball out of the star player's hand. What they actually want to do is they want the star player to get into a mode of playing 1 versus 5. They'll let LeBron put up crazy numbers. They'll let Luka Doncic put up crazy numbers, which they did the past 2 contests. And their goal is, we're just going to stop the role players, or we're going to make you beat us straight up and just make you beat us playing honest. We're going to tag you with a great perimeter defender, whether it's Andrew Wiggins, Andre Iguodala, Kevin Durant when they had him, Klay Thompson when he had the lateral speed, when he had the lateral quickness before the injury, Draymond Green, Gary Payton II. We're going to tag you with a great defender, and we're going to let you go one-on-one versus him. And if you beat him, we're going to send help, but we're not going to overdo it. We're going to make you try to beat us by yourself, and we're going to make you get in that zone where you're just not passing the ball and you're getting caught up playing iso ball. And the formula works for the most part, but at some point you do have to send double teams. When they were playing against Dallas, when they were playing against the Lakers, these guys are double teaming Steph. They're trapping Steph. But on the other end, the Warriors aren't doubling LeBron James. They're not doubling Luka. They're letting LeBron go for 56. They're letting Luka get a 40-point triple-double. Like, at some point you have to say, this guy's just way too hot and we got to force someone else to beat us. But they stick to stick to the formula. They stick to their guns, and they don't allow the role players to really get involved. They force your star players to just dethrone them every single time. And they're a little headstrong about that. I felt like without Draymond Green, with Gary Payton out these past few games, with Andre Iguodala out, he's been out for a while now, you don't really have those perimeter defenders. You know, Clay coming off an injury, you don't really have those same lockdown corners that you used to have. So maybe playing a little bit more team defense or switching up the schemes would help. And on the offensive end, this motion offense that they run, it's a beautiful thing. It gets everybody involved. Usually you get good shots out of it. The analytics love it. It works, but you know, it's proven that it works. They won championships playing this offense. But Kevin Durant had a problem with Steve Kerr when Steve Kerr would run it, even in the playoffs when teams would slow it down a little bit. And he just felt like there should be a balance of a little more iso ball. And I agree, when Steph Curry has the ball at the top of the key, if he's getting a screen and it's automatically leading to getting trapped and getting doubled, maybe don't send the screen. Let Steph Curry cook the guy off the dribble and just create isolation. Let Steph Curry catch the ball in spots where it's a little bit more difficult to double team him. When you have a guy like Damian Lillard gets trapped and doubled just like Curry does, but when he passes the ball, they look to get him the ball right back. When Kobe Bryant catches the ball, Michael Jordan catches the ball, Kevin Durant, they catch the ball in spots where it's pretty much impossible to double team them. And if you do try to double team, they're going to rise before the double team gets there. But because of the way that the Warriors utilize Steph Curry, it's not like he doesn't have a mid-range game or doesn't have a floater. I mean, he's been struggling finishing around the rim, but he still has the floater in the mid-range game. They don't have to just limit Steph to chucking up 15 threes a game. He's averaging like 12 or 13 a night right now. You don't have to limit him to that. You can put him in spots where he could succeed a little bit better. Put him in spots where the defense can't just double him all the time and take the ball out of his hands. But hey, that's Warriors basketball. That's what they like to do. They want to see if you're going to force it out Steph's hands, which you are. So they're anticipating that, and they're getting their guys ready to hit open shots. And it just hasn't been falling down. It hasn't been knocking down. When Draymond Green comes back, I suspect that it's going to help on both ends because Draymond's a guy who, when you get the ball out of Steph Curry's hands, Draymond can make a lot of plays. Draymond gets everybody involved. He knows what to do because he is their point guard. In a lot of ways, Draymond Green is the point guard for the Golden State Warriors. And on the defensive end, he's the anchor. He's the guy who, yeah, when they're not making shots, they get down on themselves and they stop playing defense as hard. Draymond holds them accountable. He's the vocal guy who tells them, hey, you better get this stop. And when Draymond's not there, none of the young guys can really tell Steph or Clay or any of these other guys shit. You can't tell, none of these young guys can tell Andrew Wiggins, hey, Wiggs, play more defense. Wiggs, you need to lock in. They can't tell him that, but Draymond can. So I think the most important thing going forward for the Warriors is to get Draymond back. He says he's coming back March 14th against the Wizards. So you get Draymond back. Get Wiseman back because you're going to need some size. I'm not that big on Wiseman, but he's going to give you some size. At least in limited minutes, he'll help a little bit relieving Looney. They're going to have to find ways to free Steph Curry up a little better and get him the ball in different spots so that way it's not so easy to trap him and double him. You got to make Steph's life a little bit easier or let Steph find a way to get single coverage a little bit more than he has because right now Klay Thompson isn't helping the Warriors in the way that they really need him to. He hasn't been the guy that they were hoping to get, and I don't blame him for it. He's coming off injury. He hasn't played in like 2 full seasons, so you can't expect him to be perfect just yet, but he's really struggling right now. And I think they need to unleash Jordan Poole a little bit more because Jordan Poole's that one guy on the roster who off the dribble, catch and shoot, he can create doing everything, you know? Besides Steph Curry, he's the guy who can literally do everything on the court offensively. So unleash Jordan Poole. I know he hurts the defense a little bit, but you're going to need the scoring. He frees them up. And when the offense plays well for the Warriors, it allows them to get set on defense. And they play a lot better defense when they're in a rhythm. When their offense is flowing, their defense flows even better. They've lost touch of their defense a little bit due to their offensive struggles. So that's what I've noticed so far. I'm going to let Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins, ESPN First Take, I'm going to let them talk about it, and I'll chime in.
Nearly as confident as I was, but it's primarily pretty much solely because of the absence of Draymond Green. I think that the best thing that has happened to the...
I'd say a lot of it is no Draymond. We're noticing how big of a role Draymond plays for the Warriors, but some of it is really concerning. Like the loss against the Mavericks, the Warriors were trying so hard to win that game. They were so amped up. They were taking that game very seriously. They gave it all they had, and they just fell short. Like the Mavs were just a better team. Luka was just cooking them. So it's concerning. The offense is concerning. The defense, I suspect, will get better with Draymond. The offense will get better with Draymond as the point guard, but it's concerning.
The brand that is Draymond Green is him being out. Because we realize now how important he is to this franchise. Defensively, they would be significantly better with him on the court. There is no denying that. When he's on the court healthy, Draymond Green is a defensive player of the year candidate pretty much every year. He's that elite. He's that intelligent of a basketball player. His leadership, what KP alluded to in terms of culture and what's lacking in Brooklyn. Nobody would ever say that in Golden State because the one thing you know about Draymond Green, as emotional as he is on the court and how he has to monitor arguing with the refs and getting technical fouls, you know, I've seen it up close and personal, him hold players, one player after another, accountable for making sure they fulfill their collective responsibilities on the basketball court, knowing their assignments.
Draymond is so big for this team in a good and bad way. Like, nobody hurts the Warriors quite like Draymond does with the technical fouls and sometimes just doing stupid shit, the bad turnovers, but nobody helps the Warriors quite like Draymond does too. He just brings so much to the table that like is just the Draymond role. Only Draymond does it for the team.
Knowing what they're supposed to do, knowing how they're supposed to do it, and getting all up in them to make sure that they do exactly that. So you would improve exponentially defensively. And on the offensive side of the ball, you got a point forward that's basically a setup artist. KP, I will tell you, his absence combined with the body language I saw from Klay Thompson Saturday, has me a tad bit concerned. You know,
Yeah, Klay Thompson is down right now mentally and physically. He's down. He's not quite there. His game hasn't got to the level that he wishes that it was at. I can definitely see how that's frustrating for him because he was playing at such a high level before the injury. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And, I'm concerned that on the defensive end and in other aspects of his game, he might not never quite get there again. But the shooting and being able to score the basketball, I believe it's just going to take more reps.
he just didn't seem right. And it was on his face, too. I've seen him happier. I've seen him more enthusiastic.
Yeah, when he stormed to the locker room and it wasn't an injury, Jeff Van Gundy called it out. I knew it wasn't an injury when he walked to the locker room. I knew it was just frustration. And I'm trying to think, LeBron James is probably the only guy who I've ever seen do that besides when Klay did that. LeBron's probably the only guy, and LeBron's done it a few times, just going to the locker room early out of frustration. That's some weak shit.
I see him more hyped and ready to go, especially when he stepped into the Staples Center. That was not the case this past Saturday night. As far as I was concerned, Steph Curry was all alone. And so when I look at it from that perspective, there's cause to pause, there's cause for concerns, particularly when you see what's happening in Phoenix, even without CP3, what's happening with Utah, Memphis, etc. But I still consider the Warriors a legit threat because I don't expect Draymond Green to be gone for the season. Like they said, he's coming back. Klay Thompson, as long as he's healthy, I expect him to be relevant. And Wiseman will be back in the mix too.
You know what? As the world turns, you used to watch that soap opera, right? I know you heard
not
of
that one.
soap opera.
Not that one. All my children, One Life to Live, and Dead General Hospital. And Younger the Rest.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. But let me say this. Let me say this to you, because now for some reason we're having flashback Mondays, okay? And I told you when Klay Thompson came back, I said to you that they were going to have chemistry problems. I told you.
That's a fact. Kendrick Perkins did say that.
With the emergence of Jordan Poole having to take a lesser role, Klay Thompson having to fit in along with Andrew Wiggins, that they were going to have problems. Yes, Klay Thompson's body language probably had a lot to do with Draymond Green, but it also has a lot to do with the Warriors system. And so here's the problem that I have with you and everybody else around the world is that when the Warriors are hitting those threes, we're singing their praises. I mean, they're shooting it from the parking lot. They're doing this. But when they're not hitting those threes, nobody holds them accountable for playing bad basketball.
That's a fact, too.
No one says a goddamn word about them playing bad basketball. And that's a problem that I have with you. And then on the other hand, you know what else? You don't hold Steph Curry accountable. You do not. This is the one guy that you get.
Yeah, Stephen A's face got me weak.
You let Steph Curry off the hook because
and proud of
it. Yeah.
He said, I do, and I'm proud of it. Stephen A is a fanboy, dude. At his core, Stephen A is a fanboy. He watches these players. If he fucks with how you play, if he wishes he could play like that, he gonna root for you. If the way you play, he don't really fuck with it, he just gonna start hating on you.
Yeah, and proud of it. Because the conversations we have, comparing them up and
He had the most stupid look on his face, talking about, I'm proud of it. I do. I'm proud of it.
There with Jordan and doing all this, and they losing 10 out of 13 with still the personnel that they have. If it was any other superstar, you would be on here giving them the business. Fact.
If LeBron James was doing that, if any big superstar was doing that, I'll be making comments about it as well. If Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, if they're struggling like that, if both of them are playing on the court and the Brooklyn Nets are struggling like that, he would let them have it. But Steph, Klay, a Steve Kerr-led team with still good role players around them struggling this bad, he has been biased. Kendrick Perkins is getting on him right now.
Okay, and here's the other concern what I have.
You're going to let me respond? I'm waiting to respond.
No, I'm not finished. I'm not finishing telling you about my concerns. My concerns is, yes, they do need Draymond Green back. But Draymond Green been sidelined since January the 9th, I believe it is, with a back injury. This ain't back spasms. So we all know how that is dealing with back injuries. Even if he comes back, do we know if he's going to be 100%? Okay, so you could go ahead and respond. But I'm just telling you right now, to me, looking at this Golden State Warriors team and having a Draymond Green that's been dealing with a back injury, are they legit title contenders? Hell no.
They're still legit title contenders because at the end of the day, they're all about the postseason. They don't really care too much about the regular season. For example, like the concerns that I made about what they're doing and how it's not really, the system's not really leading to wins right now, and how I want Steve Kerr to make adjustments. In Steve Kerr's defense, the way that he looks at it is this system has been working, and I'm not going to change it up just to win some regular season games. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make the role players and make these guys play even harder into the system, so that way come playoff time, if I need to call their number, they'll play better in the system because they got the bad reps out the way. So I understand the logic behind it. And the Warriors, they are still title threats, but earlier I made a video earlier in the year and I said that I take the Warriors over the Suns in 7. I can't stand on that. As of right now, I can't say that I'd take the Warriors over the Suns in 7. I have to see how Draymond looks when he returns, as Perkins said. I have to see if Wiseman can add anything to the team. We have to see how the Suns look when Chris Paul comes back. But right now it just feels like every year you have certain teams where it just feels like their year, or like in the playoffs, the way that they're playing, you're just like, oh yeah, it might just be this team's year. Like, I thought that KD was going to be able to make magic happen last year in the postseason, but once the Bucks defeated him, it just felt like it might just be the Bucks' year, and I rode with the Bucks the rest of the way, betting them on a lot of those games and cashing with them a lot. And this year, it just kind of feels like it's the Suns' year. It feels like the Suns are riding on this magic carpet ride, and they're going to take it all the way. But I did a video on the Suns as well where I said that they might just be the Green Bay Packers of the NBA. So we'll see. But the Warriors are definitely still title threats.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, that last part is just blasphemous. That's number one. Number two, damn is okay. The other word added to it, might want to pipe that down. Don't do that.
Yes.
Number
Don't
three,
use God's name in vain.
We want to refrain from that, KP. It's okay. It's all right. You're right.
Well, just to educate you guys, just to educate Stephen A. and Molly, God is like a title. God isn't God's name, So based on what belief system, what you believe in, God has a name, God, the term God is just a title, just like calling me a man or calling, a female a woman. Like, that's just a title. That's not, God's name isn't God. So you're not really putting God's name in vain when you say goddamn. But that's neither here nor there.
Just a mistake.
No, I'm sorry, but I said it was G-O-T. Okay.
Okay, G-O-T. Okay, I know. But you know how people hear. So that's all right.
Yeah.
So let's get this.
Right.
No biggie. We got you. So that's number 2. Number 3.
Stephen A. Smith, the company man.
Big Perk, I never said that I was fixated on the Golden State Warriors finishing as the number 1 seed in the West. I never said that, they just gonna be all comfortable and in cruise control and they're not gonna have any hiccups in the season. I never disputed your point that when Klay Thompson came back because of Jordan Poole and Toscano Anderson, even though Toscano Anderson, he's lucky he in the lineup for a month after that display in the slam dunk contest. That was enough for banishment for 1 month for punishment.
Well, Juan's from where I'm from. I know a lot of people that know Juan personally. I don't know him personally, but, Juan's from the hometown, and he made it onto the Warriors, and that's a success story in itself. He's not a dunker. He shouldn't have been in the slam dunk contest, but they gave him the opportunity, and he jumped at it, and that was good exposure for him. And in the first round, he did good. In the second round, he wasn't able to get that dunk off. He should have had a backup dunk. But, the problem with the slam dunk contest is that the star players don't want to get involved in it anymore. When the star players used to be in the slam dunk contest, even when you had like a Dwight Howard or Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, like name guys, that's when that shit was popping. But LeBron James and a lot of these star athletes, they kind of looked at they frowned on the slam dunk contest. They never really wanted to get involved in it. And Them not getting involved in it has led to it kind of drying up. We need Ja Morant in the next slam dunk contest to really revitalize it.
As far as I'm concerned, so he's lucky he's still on the damn court because I like him and I like him
Ja Morant in the slam dunk contest would be nuts.
a lot, but that was just an atrocious performance in the slam dunk contest. Gave the organization a bad rep.
Stick to the topic, dude. You don't have to just keep piling on.
The bottom line is this: I never failed to anticipate that those issues were going to happen. What I'm saying is, because of who Clay is and because of how he knows how to play the game of basketball, when it really, really counts, all I'm concerned about is his health. I ain't concerned about nothing else. Because if he's healthy, watch what he does.
Well, I'm actually concerned because Clay doesn't look right now. He just doesn't.
And I believe I'm going to be right. So, again, we understand what you're saying in that regard, but my point is still consistent, and I ain't backing up from it.
But anyways, like I said earlier, the Warriors were able to defeat the Los Angeles Clippers. They're getting Draymond back next week. Hopefully they'll be getting Wiseman back soon, and they can clear up some of these issues, and we can see them play at their highest level. That'll be interesting, and it'll make the West a lot more competitive because right now it looks like the Eastern Conference playoffs is going to be intense and that the West is just going to be Suns all the way. So we need the Warriors to make that interesting. Warriors-Suns, 7 games. That would be beautiful. We'll see if we can get it. Thanks for watching. Peace.